everyone and welcome. Thanks for pressing play once again. For those of you who are new to my channel, I'm Pixel Paul, and for those of you who are returning, thanks for coming back once again. So this video is episode 2 of my 10 for a tenner series. So this is basically a series of videos where I will pick a specific console and I'll show you 10 games that you can buy for that console for just £10. So I did a similar video for the PlayStation 2 a few weeks ago, and this video will concentrate on the amazing Xbox 360. So at the moment, the Xbox 360 is arguably one of the cheapest consoles that you can collect for. At the moment, the games for the console you can find in CEX, you can find in charity shops. 9 times out of 10, if you find games in a charity shop, most of the time there will be Xbox 360 games. So it is one of the consoles that you can collect for relatively cheaper. But there are rumours, there are sort of predictions that the Xbox 360 games are going to go up in value soon, or maybe not in value, but certainly in price anyway in the shops. So now is a good time to be starting to collect for it. So I've chosen 10 games based on current CEX prices in the UK. Current prices mean as in it's December 2023. So obviously if you're watching this video at a later date, the prices may have changed. They may go up, they may go down, but who knows. But right now, these 10 games, and they all actually clock in for just £1 each, which when you see some of the games, you sort of think, wow, that's really good value actually, because some of these games are genuine sort of classics as well. So yeah, we'll dive straight into the 10 games, I think. I'll show you a bit of footage of some of the games as we go along as well. So if you want to grab your brew and let's go through the 10 games. So first up, and if you've got an Xbox 360, chances are you will have one of these games already. But let's say, for argument's sake, if you've just picked up your Xbox 360, you want to start your collection, what better place to start than Gears of War 2? Now obviously Gears of War 1 is just as good. It's very sort of close between which is better, 2 or the original game. I've gone for 2 just because I prefer it, but Gears of War 1 is actually £1 also at the moment, so you could argue the case for putting that one in. I've gone for Gears of War 2. I just think the scale of it is huge. It's such a good game. Obviously the first Gears of War game was one of those games in that generation that really kind of hit home just how amazing and different, it was a bit of a difference maker, the whole sort of HD graphics, the level of detail in Gears of War 1 is just incredible. And it's one of those, I remember first playing Gears of War 1 and thinking, wow, this is just such a huge step from like the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. But yeah, so I've gone for Gears of War 2. Great game, great way to start your Xbox 360 collection. Obviously, you may want to start with the first one, but just for the sake of this video, I've gone for Gears of War 2. And let's have a quick look at some footage from Gears of War 2.
Centaur 2-3 is down. Back on assistance.
So that was Gears of War 2. Good start to the 10, I think. Next up is one of my personal favourites. I really, really loved this game when it originally came out. And the sequel I was really disappointed with. But the first, well, I say the first, it's the first one on the Xbox 360, but it's not the first in the series. It is Deus Ex Revolution. And again, such an amazing game for the 360. It took sort of what the original couple of games did and just expanded it. It's quite a sort of mix of styles, this game. You know, there's stealth elements, there's touches on RPG elements, there's first-person shooter elements as well, obviously. An amazing score. It looks amazing. You know, very sort of Blade Runner-esque visuals. But the score that goes along with it really complements it really, really well. And yeah, another really good game. And again, that clocks in just for £1 at the moment. So that would be a great addition to the 10. So Deus Ex. Next up, and this was one of the earlier releases for the Xbox 360. I think originally it was a exclusive for the 360 to begin with. It did get ported to the PlayStation 3 eventually. But yeah, its first home was on the 360. And it is Lost Planet from Capcom. Now this is actually the Steelbook version of Lost Planet. I'm not 100% sure if the Steelbook version is still £1, but in general, Lost Planet, the game, bog standard edition, clocks in for just £1. Capcom game, a little bit quirky, a bit weird. It's almost like a time attack kind of game, because obviously you're sort of against the clock with the freezing temperatures. But yeah, just an amazing sort of atmospheric action shooter set in the sort of alien planet, which is frozen, which is what it feels a bit like outside at the moment because it's so cold. But yeah, another great game, Lost Planet, and again, worthy addition to your starting 10 for the Xbox 360. Then next up, now this game does split opinion a little bit. Most people sort of consider it to be a classic. I think when you compare it then to the second game in the series, it kind of, yeah, you can sort of see its flaws. But a lot of people actually prefer this one because it's a lot more, sort of has a lot more sort of role-playing game sort of style to it. But it is Mass Effect. Now I actually really, really love Mass Effect 2. And if I could have, I would have put it in this 10. But Mass Effect 2 is a little bit more expensive. But Mass Effect 1 comes in at just £1. So that's why I've added it into this 10. But again, you know, even compared to the first one, it was an amazing start to the series. Just a really good game, really amazing sort of introduction into this world and this universe and these characters. So yeah, again, that would be a great start to your Xbox 360 collection. And that's Mass Effect. Next up, and I do like to try and keep a little bit of variety with these 10 games when I'm doing them. So I've gone for a racing game, and it is Project Gotham Racing 3. So originally, PGR was kind of sort of Xbox's equivalent to Gran Turismo. I know Forza sort of took over from PGR eventually, but PGR was, you know, a really good series of games, and it's kind of sad that they've kind of faded into obscurity a little bit now. But yeah, PGR 3 again just clocks in for £1. Really good racer, and I've taken a little bit of footage, and I'll give you the heads up now. I was a little bit rusty at this game, so yeah, I was taking the footage and did a lap around one of the circuits, and I think because I've been playing so much Mario Kart recently, I was trying to sort of power slide around corners and it wasn't working. So yeah, watch out for that first corner because it's not great. So yeah, I was a little bit rusty, but here's a little bit of footage from PGR 3. So that was me playing PGR3 rather badly, but yeah, another great game that you can add to the 10. So next up is what I would say is probably the wild card of this 10, mainly because I don't want to say it's the worst game of the 10, but for £1, I think it's a decent buy. I think it's a decent pickup, and it is Rage. So yeah, just for £1, it wasn't a bad game at all. Not quite what people were expecting from the people who made Doom and Quake. It's a little bit kind of bigger and more open world in comparison to those two games. There's also sort of like the use of vehicles in it as well. But it's a solid first person shooter, and you know, it's quite a big game as well. So you would definitely get some bang for your buck on this one. So that's why I put it into the 10. But yeah, Rage, you can pick that up quite cheaply. Again, with a lot of these games, you may even be able to find them cheaper than £1. I mean, possibly not, but if you look around, you may be able to find them in, you know, charity shops for a little bit less. But yeah, certainly Rage, with its huge 3 discs as well, it's not a bad addition to the 10. So Rage. Next up is, and I've never actually played this one online. I've never played the sort of multiplayer aspect of this game, but I played the single player campaign and it's really good. And it is Battlefield Bad Company 2. I know a lot of people who are big fans of Battlefield. A lot of people actually prefer it over Call of Duty. But for a lot of people who are fans of the Battlefield series, a lot of people say Bad Company 2 is probably the best of the lot. I enjoyed the single player campaign. I thought it was quite good. Apparently the multiplayer campaign, the multiplayer option, sorry, the servers for it are being shut down soon. Someone told me recently, so maybe that would sway your decision whether you pick it up or not. But I certainly think the campaign's quite good, certainly very playable, and you know what you're getting with these kind of wartime first-person shooters. So yeah, another decent game, Battlefield Bad Company 2. Next up, we've got a bit of a kind of, I suppose, Xbox staple, if you like. It's Crackdown. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Crackdown games. If I'm going to play one, I will play this one. The other 2 games, I wasn't that keen on, I wasn't that fussed about. But Crackdown 1 is quite good fun, sort of open world. It's a bit crazy, it's a bit out there, sci-fi shooter type thing. But yeah, for £1, you can't complain, can you really? So yeah, Crackdown, that's another one for the 10. And then next up, and this one is another one of my sort of personal favourites. I've spoken about this game quite a lot on Instagram. But I just love this game. It's not perfect, I know it's not perfect, but it just has something. When I first bought it back in the day, 2008, I was blown away by it. There's a bit of a learning curve to it, but once you actually master it and you get used to the controls, I think it's just a great game. And it is Mirror's Edge. So again, it's quite a unique game. You know, it's done in a first-person shooter, and you're basically using parkour to, you know, jump over buildings and over obstacles and what have you. There is an option for gunplay in it, but you can go through the entire game without shooting anyone, which is the best way to play it, really. But yeah, stunning to look at. So sort of unique with its sort of very white colour cityscapes with dashes of red and blue and bits of colour here, there and everywhere. But yeah, it's just an amazing game, amazing soundtrack to it, just really different. It's such a shame that the second one, Catalyst, wasn't quite as good as this. It had its moments, but yeah, just never really sort of captured the feeling of the first one. But yeah, Mirror's Edge, one of my favourite games ever. Let's have a quick look at Mirror's Edge on the Xbox 360.
Once the city used to pulse with energy, dirty and dangerous, but alive and wonderful. Now, it's something else. The changes came slowly at first. Most didn't realize or didn't care and accepted them. They chose a comfortable life. Some didn't. And those who refused to conform were pushed to the sidelines, criminalized. They became our clients. We call ourselves runners. We exist on the edge, between the gloss and the reality. The mirror's edge. We keep out of trouble, out of sight, and the cops don't bother us. Runners see the city in a different way. We see the flow. Rooftops become pathways and conduits, possibilities, and a to escape. The flow is what keeps us running, keeps us alive.
So that was Mirror's Edge on the Xbox 360. Again, one of my favourite games ever, that one. But yeah, we've actually reached the end of the 10, and there was no way I was going to be able to do this list or this 10 for a tenner without, well, for an Xbox console without doing a Halo game, of course. So a lot of the Halo games are quite sort of varied in price. There's one or two which come in at £1. So I could have probably chosen one or two of them, but I've gone for this one just because I remember really enjoying it, and it is Halo Reach. And again, for a lot of people really like Halo Reach. Some people don't, but I think the people that do like Halo Reach actually think it's one of their favourite Halo games ever. So obviously there's, you know, it's slightly different to the other games in that Master Chief isn't particularly involved. But yeah, it's another amazing game. Is it the best Halo game on the 360? It's probably very close between 3 and Reach. Some would say maybe 4 as well. But for me, just Halo Reach was just that little bit different, just brought something new to the table for the series. And again, for £1, I mean, what a game to pick up for £1. So yeah, Halo Reach, that's the last of my 10 picks. Let's have a quick look at Halo Reach.
Piloting inbound with transport 6.
I'm in. The old Farragut station has its own comms array. That should bring us back online with command. The Airview base has an anti-air battery that will help clear the skies.
AA gun is to the west, comms array to the east. As well. Hope that comms array has a working generator. the area for a generator station.
So that is my Xbox 360 10 for a tenner. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, so if you are a new adopter of an Xbox 360 and you've just started to collect for it, maybe that's a good starting place for you. I think that's 10 pretty decent games that you can pick up for £10 there. As I say, this was filmed in December 2023, so the prices may go up, they may go down. Predicted that they will go up. So it's probably a decent time to actually start collecting for that console now. But yeah, good stack of games, all for £10. Great value, really. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. I will do another one for another console in the near future, I think. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that's a decent stack of games? Do you think you could find a better 10 games for £10? Are there any that you would swap out? Maybe put a different game in, maybe that you can still fit within that £10 budget? Just let me know in the comments, that would be great. If you've liked this video, if you'd like to drop a subscription if you've not already done so, and like I say, if you've liked the video, if you can give me a thumbs up, that would be great. And yeah, that's it. I will see you all on the next one. Thanks. Bye.